I'm sitting in my garden at the moment, and it's just the loveliest evening. It's been sunny. It's really pretty. Things are flowering now. My lilac tree is up above me. Ooh, and it's finished now, but it's just started to produce this really lovely dappled light. And I thought I'd kind of walk you around the garden a bit. I don't know whether, I think I can switch it. Can I switch it around? No, I can't. So bear with me. I'm going to see if I can show you some of the gorgeous things that are in the garden at the moment. So I've got, this is called Big Blue, and I absolutely love Erigeans. They're so pretty. Ridgerons. I'm never too sure how to say these. And then I've got these fantastic honeysuckles as well. I wish I could. This was smell-o-vision, otherwise you could smell it. But it is absolutely beautiful, really gorgeous. They're really big, buttery. Look, they're lovely. And what else have we got around here? This is, oh, there's some more here. I wish you could smell it. I really do. It's really, really pretty. And then some fantastic colours. Aren't they gorgeous? So, oh, I've got a hoverfly talking to me. So, summer. And finally, I'm going to sit down here underneath my plum tree. Actually, look, I have to show you these. Let me find a branch. Can I find some? Look at these. Victoria plums. And this tree is, when I moved here, it was a baby. And it was really tiny. And it's got enormous amounts of plums on it now. But about, where are we? About 3, 4, 5 years ago, we had 60 pounds of plums off here, British pounds of plums. And I had so many plums, I was just going, have them. And I was just giving them away. I'm going to walk back up the garden again because it's where the honeysuckle is. It smells so lovely. And I just was giving bags of them away. And then the following year, it didn't do anything at all. It was exhausted. I had a haircut. And then it's not really done anything. We had a very late frost, so we lost all of the blossom went. And then last year, didn't do anything really. I had about 6. And this year, wow. So I will be making jam by the bucket load, I think. So our summer this year, it started off, we've had a bit of a heat wave, we've had a bit of a drought, and it's just started to settle down now. So we've gone back from 30 degrees right back down to the 20s, which is so much better. But I'm going to take you back now to last summer when I visited my friends who'd moved down to Bridport. Now, oddly, they are staying with me this week. So it's been really lovely. They're here with me till Monday. And so they're visiting friends, and we've been visiting friends, and just kind of catching up without a time limit, which is really nice. Makes a massive change. And so anyway, I'm going to roll you back to last summer when it was just about settling down and we'd got out of the heat wave. We had the 40-degree heat last year, so we're settling down again now. And I'm going to take you back in time a little bit to last year. This is the last video from last year. The next one to be popped up in this playlist is going to be Wales, which will be a big one. And hopefully you'll really enjoy it. But anyway, a little trip to Bridport. Take care, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. Hello. I'm in Bridport this time round. So we had a super time in Mersey. I'm still stitching these, but I'm on a different one now, on a blue one. And so a bit more of needle and pin and a bottle of gin. I haven't got any gin with me now. I haven't even got a cup of tea, but I've come out just to do a little bit of stitching. So I thought I'd just start with showing you how to split this embroidery thread. I use it as they come in 6 strands, and I use it with 3. And a lot of people get it and they'll go, oh, we need to split it, and they just pull. The trouble is, when you pull, you end up with a great big knot. So the idea is that, let's move that out of the way a minute, that you twizzle. If I do it against the table. So you just twizzle it with your finger and split it. I'll take that off for a second. And you split it with your finger, and as you're splitting it, you just let the twist out. And then you do the next bit and twizzle with your finger, split it and let the twist out. And you just keep letting the twists out. And if you do that, when you come to stitch, it won't knot. Shouldn't knot. It might knot a bit, but it shouldn't. So then you'll end up, can you see, a little spin, and all the twists will come out. So I'll leave that half over there and thread that needle up. So the other thing that I was going to show you, I'm doing it again, glasses on my head, no good. The other thing that I was going to show you is something that, pop that there for a second. These little guys, they're silicone, and what I find is, you'll have to excuse my nail polish is off again. When I'm doing lots and lots of hand stitching, I do get a callus on here, so it's quite hard. But then every now and again it splits, and it can be really annoying and really painful. So these are really great. They just slide on your finger. They come in all different sizes. This one's a little bit too small for this finger, but never mind. And they go in there and they just protect your finger. And then I end up doing it with that finger. So you can't win. I've got mad hair again today. So I've reached a point on this, and this is a blue one, and these two are complete. They're the same. They're in the same family. I've got the same kind of Kawandi style. I've got the same butterfly, but these are blue. But these are slightly different shape, so they're a lot more rounded. I'm not stopping and then putting a turn on them as much. They're still going in concentric circles, and it's exactly the same process, but it's more circular than it is. So I've got to a point here where I'm stopped, and I'm just going to start on here. So when I do this, I don't just start here. I come in from somewhere further, so that you use that bit of cotton or thread. The other thing that these are quite useful for is pulling through, because they're rubbery. I think, to be honest, that's probably what they're really for. And then that little end will stay long. So I've gone in about there, but I'm going to start stitching in here. And then I'm just going to put an anchor stitch in underneath this next piece of fabric, which is quite a handy space. If you don't stop near an end, then what I tend to do is come back along another row, and I just double stitch one of them, and it just anchors it in. So once I've put an anchor stitch in here, I will just run back to where the next stitch will come out. I'll show you in a second. So I just pull it out there. I'm just going to pop a pin back in there so it doesn't keep moving. Tuck that end in, so I don't want that hanging out. There, and just anchors it in for a minute until I get there. So I've come back now to where that stitch, that's the last one I did. This is the new one I'm starting. And then it's the same principle as I've done before. So you're tucking in the last piece that you did, and you're making the new stitch. So, whoops. These are slightly less stiff than the other cushion covers, so they're a little easier to stitch. So I'm going to go over the edge of this one so that it anchors it in, and then I'm not going to try and stitch up right like I did on the last one, because the stitching was terrible, to be fair. If you've got tough needles to push through, don't forget to use a thimble. I did actually go through my fingernail last time because I used my fingernails because they're so hard. I've got really, really hard fingernails. But I did actually make a hole in one. So I wouldn't advise it. I do it, and it's like, don't do as I do, do as I say. So Bridport, what a lovely place. I'm staying with my friends. We've come down. We were hoping we would paddle Durdle Door, but we had a lot of things to do to help here. My friends have just moved. They've only been here a month. And so there's lots of sort of transition-y jobs to do and bits and pieces. So we came down to lend a hand, and obviously wherever I go there's some sewing. But I haven't done a lot of sewing because Bridport has the most incredible little town. And there are shops that are independent. There's a patchwork shop. I couldn't believe it. I trundled along, and then it was in the shop window. I suddenly spotted Hexy quilts. Now, you know, what do? You have to go in. So in I went. I bought a couple of fat quarters, but seriously, I could have spent my life's savings. Not that there's a lot. And it's gorgeous, and the people are lovely. And on a Saturday, it was market day. So there were stalls all the way up and down. We had the most incredible fish and chips. I would highly, highly, highly recommend a visit, but I kind of don't want to because I don't want it to become unspoiled. The dogs have loved it. Lovely walks. We're going to do more walking, but we did a lot of time in the garden here. It's a beautiful garden, and it's stepped up to woods. And so I think the next time we come down, we'll walk the woods. But yeah, what a little gem of a place. Again, somewhere else that I've never been. That I would highly recommend, and well worth a visit, but be kind and don't crowd it. It's just a lovely place. I'm very envious, but at least I know that I can come and see my friends whenever. And I've had 30 years of them on my doorstep nearly, and now they've landed in somewhere beautiful, and it's gorgeous. So it's been a lovely weekend, although we haven't done quite as much as we thought we were going to do as a visit, but we've done jobs and we've got the garden done, and that was kind of the intention, was to come down and lend a hand and do some jobs and help them out. So we haven't done paddling this week. We are going to come back down and do some paddling though, and we are going to do Durdle Door. So watch this space. I think I might take some sewing with me. We're looking at seeing if we can get some anchors so we can paddle out, drop anchor, have a cream tea, do a bit of reading and stitching. The dog's gonna have a sleep. It gets more and more mad as we go on, but hey, why not? Life's for adventure, and the more adventures you can squeeze in, the better, I think. So I'm just carrying on with this, and it's just keeping going in concentric circles. So what I've done is I've come up here, I've anchored these two pieces, come round on a curve. So normally on the others I would have turned on a square because they were much squarer shaped, but these I'm not going to. I'm just doing soft curves. So although they're slightly different, they'll still be part of the set. I've got another one that as soon as this one's finished, this is actually my favourite. It's got colours in it that I adore, and it's also got a little bit of, this is Tiggy Winkle, so that's quite special. I love Mrs. Tiggy Winkle. So that's the last one to be done, and I'm sure that it will feature in a little while. Still going to be doing a couple of trips. I've still got a couple of trips to do, and I will definitely be stitching while I'm there. They're in the pipeline at the moment, but I also, when I get back home, will be finishing up my barn. I haven't done walk-arounds in the barn yet, but I will do because it's been a long time in the making. It's in Bedford, Bedfordshire. I live right on the borders. They don't call them sheds. We have wooden sheds in the garden, but the barns are the brick, what would have been, because my house is Victorian, it would have been where the outhouse was, so it would have been where the toilet was, it would have been where the tin bath hung up, and coal hole, and all the, you know, paraphernalia of Victorian living. And they call them barns. So it's not huge, but it's been used as a bit of a storage facility since I moved, which is too long ago. And then I had all the plans to do it and got stuck in, and then obviously 2020 was like, oh, but the roof went on. I've got a section between the barn and the house, which is a utility area, so we had to put a roof on that, and then there was no timber supplies, and you know, it was a whole another ball game. So anyway, it's almost there. The only thing that hasn't happened yet is just the kind of the general storage stuff and just getting it all organized. But I will walk you around there, and you can see what it's like to actually work with a small space. So I have always done small space working, and it's proof of the pudding that you don't need an enormous amount of room to stitch in. I do a lot of stitching with my stuff pinned onto ironing boards and things, simply because I, you know, in previous cottage that I lived in was an old Victorian railway cottage, and it didn't have space for a big table, so you have to come up with improvisation. Well, I reupholstered 3 sofas just working on the kitchen counter and an ironing board, so you don't need a huge amount of space, but it is nice when you've got it. So the barn is an extension of that, and it is being sorted out, but there's a few jobs needing to be done, but I will walk you around that. So when all this travelling bits and pieces have kind of slowed down a little bit, we have had rather a lot over the last few weeks, it's been great, but I'm going to get stuck into finishing the barn, and then that's where a lot of the, not this needle and pin and bottle of gin playlist is, but where the main tuition, the slow stitching and so forth. So if you haven't met the slow stitch videos, do go and have a look, because there's a spring slow stitch, there's some Easter miniature ones, and then I will be adding now summer, coastal, autumn and winter onto there as we go through, but I'm trying to get it so that the barn is a lot better for light and so forth. But I'm having so much fun just doing these. So anyway, do have a lovely day, whatever you're doing. I've just had pasta for lunch and it was absolutely delicious, but I might have bits stuck in my teeth. But have a lovely time. We are off home quite shortly, so I'm finishing up this little bit and then I'll be packing up and heading home. I don't know where Rosie Dog's gone. She's probably lying on their sofa. She normally is. Anyway, have a lovely day, whatever you're doing. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.